a lot of the rocket launcher scenes. I just remember sticking out. I was like, wait, I'm actually watching like a rocket fly. What they use for that? Hello, YouTube, and welcome to another episode of Direct to Dumpster. My name is James.
My name is Blaze.
This week, we are checking out the 1987 cult classic by Peter Jackson, Bad Taste.
So, Bad Taste is Peter Jackson's first movie he's ever directed. So, if you've only seen Lord of the Rings, boy, are you in for a surprise.
Right.
Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite trilogy. I think one of the best trilogies of films ever made.
I think it's better than the Star Wars trilogy by far. Yeah. Like I know a lot of people say millennial trash or like the Star Wars trilogy is perfect, but it doesn't feel like a trilogy anymore. It's been tainted.
And if you think about Lord of the Rings, it's just like those movies that were made all together at the same time, pretty much.
Right.
Like,
so it feels coherent. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it was planned from the start.
Yeah.
I'm sure like Star Wars, you know, I do like the original trilogy, of course. I mean, who doesn't? But
yes, exactly. I agree.
Just came up with all that shit like as they were going along. You know?
And it worked well. Like Return of the Jedi still holds up, but that is by far the weakest. Whereas Lord of the Rings, there might be some weak moments, but I don't think there's a weak film at all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like Peter Jackson, where did he get his start? The first, other than the Lord of the Rings, that was my introduction to him. I had never seen any of his previous movies, but the first one I watched was Dead Alive, or Brain Dead by what some people might call it. There's two different names for it. Mm-hmm. Was that your first introduction to non-Lord of the Rings?
Honestly, I think it was one of the three. I think it was Dead Alive, actually. I think it's either Dead Alive, then I watched Bad Taste, then I watched Meet the Feebles.
Okay.
I have seen this film before.
And then, you've seen Meet the Feebles. I still have yet to see The Frighteners, but that was the first like Peter Jackson mainstream movie I remember seeing like advertised. And like, yeah, I still can't believe that this guy got Lord of the Rings, especially after watching Bad Taste. Yeah.
Must have shot like, I don't know. I mean, it is the Frighteners that got him the gig, like for sure. It's an actual like real movie,
right? Yeah.
Like, I mean, these other films are all so low budget, but so awesome, and that starts to decline once he hits making like real movies, right? But like, I think Bad Taste is literally, it's there. It took him 4 years to make this movie, only shot on weekends. So P. O'Hearn, he has like facial hair in the movie. He literally couldn't shave for like 4 years.
Oh my gosh.
He had to just like trim and make sure it was the same length for 4 years. That after the film was done, he just like kept doing it out of habit because he had been doing it for 4 years.
Understandable, I feel like.
I think eventually his wife probably like made him shave or something, you know? It's like, come on, dude, your weird facial hair.
4 years in the making. I mean, everyone aged pretty well in the movie, though, I'd say. I mean, this is definitely like a fun project, I'd say, to do. Like, you can see that it's their first film. Most of it's shot on a cliff, and then the house also. Like, that cliff is just like, you can find those cliffs anywhere. You can find them in San Diego. You can find them in Malibu. I mean, of course, there's some in New Zealand, but yeah. Just like if you're in California, this movie feels like a movie, like someone's first movie. But I guess the prosthetics is what made this movie so popular, though. Like, the prosthetics are like unlike anything I've ever seen. Like, have you ever seen an alien this disgusting looking? And I was kind of cracking up because it kind of had that like bamboo look, or not bamboo, baboons, like the butt showing and stuff.
Yeah, it definitely has like that comedy element to it, and it is something where I feel like maybe Shaun of the Dead might be like looking to a film like this for, a lot of its like humor aspects and a lot of the comedy in it, because there's a lot here in Bad Taste that is funny. Like the puke, like vomit scene, it's a bit much. Like I had to look away a couple of times, but that was almost too much there. Yeah. And
for me, it's just the close-ups, I'd say. Like, it's not gore that I haven't seen before, but just the fact that it's like an extreme close-up of every single one. And then our main character, Derek, like losing his brains like 3 times throughout the movie and just keep shoving it back in. It's so disgusting, but it's funny though too. But yeah.
So I have to ask the question that probably most of the audience is thinking to themselves, when you've seen a movie that, you know, you hadn't seen before? Is this going to be one that you're looking for VHS copy of?
I mean, if I see it, I will buy it, but it's not really a movie I feel the need to revisit. It was a fun watch. I can see why it's a cult classic, but it's definitely a very specific crowd though that's going to this and stuff.
I mean, it's his most low budget movie. I think Dead Alive, he kind of mastered that craft of like mixing the comedy and, you know, the kind of gore and horror. This is definitely like learning, but it's so visually striking, this movie. It's so well shot, even though he literally just shot it on his 16 millimeter camera.
I figured,
with no sound. The whole movie is dubbed because he didn't have any sound. When he finally got money from the New Zealand Film Commission to finish the movie, like for the final scenes, so like you could tell it has more of a budget in the final scenes, they still they got a film camera that did sound and they didn't know what they were doing and they fucked up the sound, so they still had to dub the final scenes. Like,
I didn't realize that. I mean, I noticed that was one of the things that made the film kind of hard to watch at first. I was just like, why is there no dialogue in this movie? So I didn't know that it was shot that way. I mean, I probably could have figured it out if I was like paying more attention to the lips, I guess, but I was just like, I was pretty mesmerized just watching and like trying to figure out like Peter Jackson style. I was like, is it a Sam Raimi feel in this? But like it's like definitely his own touch. I'd say you can see some inspirations from other movies, but it
does remind me, now that you're saying, it does kind of remind me of Sam Raimi's Evil Dead. But I mean that had dialogue, this didn't. And I feel like, you know, barring the fact that he couldn't do any dialogue, he didn't have the budget or the camera to do it at the time when he started producing this movie, I think it made it far more interesting because a lot of the action like type sequences where you have these people fighting, you know, these like zombie type alien people, they were shot very interesting. Like the cinematic language is there because the dialogue isn't there to speak it. So I felt like being barred, you know, okay, we can't do sound, we can't do dialogue. So sound effects have to be like at least decent. The music is very interesting in this movie.
True. Yeah, it sounds like it's playing diegetically.
It does. It's just recorded very poorly, but it makes for a fun time.
Yeah. Some of the shots that you bring up, like that stood out for most was like of course, some of the chainsaw scenes, some of the weird POV shots with that. And then also like a lot of the rocket launcher scenes. I just remember sticking, I was like, wait, I'm actually watching like a rocket fly. What they use for that? Did they shoot a real?
It's gotta be a firework. I feel like, right?
Yeah.
Like a tube, like a PVC pipe that's painted green. And then they just like get a big rocket or attach like 30 bottle rockets to each other.
That's movie magic right there though. Just where I'm just like, I'm watching this low budget movie. They definitely like didn't use CGI back then. Like, what am I watching right now? Am I watching a real rocket shoot through a house right now? Yeah. So that was like fun. Like there's a lot of cool stuff. And then the ending, of course, like we could definitely go into like sequel territory with this movie. I feel like because I mean we get our hero Derek going to the planet he's coming for them all and stuff like, so I'd like to see where the sequel would go.
I think if anything, Peter Jackson's next movie should be Bad Taste too. Just to I mean, if you think about like a director, his first love, like making that first movie and then him actually like every director like has his first movie but like maybe he doesn't go on to make other movies because it wasn't a success. This one, huge success, goes on to have an amazing career, one of the biggest Hollywood directors. Everyone knows his name. He tried to change the face of cinema with 48 frames per second. Didn't quite work out. How about changing the face of cinema with a sequel that no one would ever expect? Yeah.
And also like shoot it secretly also. Cause it's, you know, it's can be done these days. Nobody really, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I can look it up on IMDb right now. I know he's producing stuff, but what was the last movie Peter Jackson's directed and is he directing anything?
He directed, but it's a documentary, the We Came Back,
which I heard was really good, but I forgot about that.
So the World War I footage that they recolored and treated to make it, watchable. They took this damaged footage and made like an amazing documentary. I still want to check it out.
Yeah.
But he's doing interesting things like that.
Yeah.
But how about go to the other side and go totally kitsch and just make a sequel to Bad Taste where no one's expecting it. No one really cares. Like, not like no one wants it, but no one really cares. But then if they see, okay, I want to see Bad Taste too.
I'd love for him to just tweet like Bad Taste 2, film this secretly over the last year. Here it is.
Here it is on
Here's
YouTube.
a link. Yeah. Go have fun. Yeah. And then it's just like everything. It's the same movie essentially. Just like, with the effects that he imagined, like what he wanted when he was making that movie essentially. Because I agree. Like, wouldn't that be everyone's dream just to recreate their first movie the way they originally envisioned it and stuff?
Well, I mean, Sam Raimi did do it with Evil Dead 2, essentially.
That's true, yeah.
So you're shooting a movie for 4 years, and what possible things could go wrong, do you think? I think everything, to be honest. I've shot a movie over literally a couple weeks, and had everything go wrong.
One day music video shoots, something goes wrong. Everything goes wrong usually.
So basically, one of the actors, he got divorced in the middle of it, or was married, or he was married, and then his wife told me he couldn't be in the movie anymore because she was a devout Christian. And like the subject matter was just too much for her to deal with. So she didn't want him to be in it. So he took a break and isn't in the movie for a while and then comes back to the movie like towards the end. It's Craig Smith.
Oh, okay. Right
so it's just, I thought that was hilarious. Like they kind of wrote him out of the movie like while they're filming it, and then like write him back in.
It kind of worked out then. Like, I mean, I didn't really notice it to where like, oh, where's that guy and stuff. Like, yeah, they're gone. But like, I just assumed that they're out doing like fighting these blue collar aliens that are
secret agent type shit. So, I mean, I think that this movie is honestly a New Zealand national treasure. I think anyone, if you're from New Zealand, you should have this thing on Blu-ray. You should have it already in your Blu-ray player, and maybe it shouldn't leave.
Yeah. It was a fun watch. It was cool to see what Peter Jackson was capable of in the 80s and everything. Excited to see what he does in the future and stuff still. But yeah, like it's cool to revisit these movies that like I've always heard about, but never actually had the opportunity to check out. Yeah.
Definitely check this one out, guys. I think it's worth the watch.
And that's going to conclude this week's episode, everyone. Thanks so much for the support. We really appreciate it. It means the world to us. Best way to help us out is by watching the movie on Amazon itself. We have an Amazon affiliate link in the description box below.
Leave us a comment and let us know what you thought of Bad Taste, and make sure to smash that like button. The best way to get our content delivered straight to you is by clicking the subscribe and also clicking that notification bell to know when our new videos come out every week.
That's going to conclude this week's episode of Direct to Dumpster. Be sure to tune in next week for another episode. See you then.